Okay, I guess we can begin. Ralph, anything before? Any doubts, any questions? Ralph is your
Hello,
executive.
how are you?
Very good, thank you. So Ralph is your Ralph McLeish and his team, Mackenzie. They are the team of your executive directors for the colleges. So, okay, well, hello and welcome. This is the right timing. And this session is being recorded. If you're joining live, just a heads up, you can adjust your mic, camera settings, and please mute yourself unless you're the speaker. And if you're watching the replay, because we are recording and we'll have video on demand as well, welcome. You'll still be able to get all your CME credits. So, hello and welcome, everyone. We are doing a very special mid-year conference 2025. What you're about to experience is part of a unique learning journey. It's a 3-month quest where a cohort, a group of your peers, doctors like you, volunteer physicians, they explored how to use AI. The same thing your children are using to write book reports now, and impressive speeches. How to use AI to reset their life and how to make it thrive, how to set the rhythm at work and home in a whole new way. And as it happens, some already knew a lot about AI, some were total novices, and this is where they bravely stood up and volunteered to tell their story. And we call it Thrive RX. This is AI-powered doctor success program. And today's session is a live showcase of what happened when these doctors like you stepped into this unknown territory and asked, hey, what would it take for me to get more done? And, enjoy it too and learn as well. For the last 3 years, actually 4 years now, the colleges have run different versions of this quest format in which the volunteer physicians stand up and they go on a quest to try something new. Somehow they seem to trust me. But it's all about, purpose and creativity, habit changes. In the past, we did on well-being, time management, speaking, running meetings better, that kind of a thing. But this year, the first time AI came into the mixture, and that changes everything. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Harjot Singh. I'm a doctor. And I still practice medicine. I am also faculty at American College of Healthcare Executives, which means I do a lot of physician coaching, executive coaching, speaking. I work with doctors and healthcare leaders to, not just prevent problems, but actually, help them create new things, help them with their growth. I'm not an AI engineer. I'm not here to convince you to love AI or love technology or anything. What I'm showing you is, in fact, AI can get out of hand very, very fast. So I'm here to show you that with a little structure, with the right questions, with the right prompts, you can make AI work for you without giving up your humanity, your strengths, your values. And I must say, the program won't exist without the bold leadership of the colleges. So let's take a moment to thank Dr. Tim Winter, the president, and Ralph, the executive director. They took a chance on this again. They didn't have to, but they recognized that what doctors need right now isn't like tips or, some kind of child like CME learning, but actual real life application of what's coming. And it's for all of us. So they helped build this space where these doctors could test things, fail, and share if something worked, something didn't work. It's not like everything works spectacularly when you try things. So let's take attendance because this is how we do take attendance, which is If you know how to write in the chat, open it and say hi. So please type in the chat hi, like how I did. Very good. Dr. Libby, Don Morris, Jay Slater, Mary Shinko. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, Chad Clark is here. He's one of our presenters today. We have iPhone 130. Lots of technology. Tim Winter, hi. Dr. Winter is your president, just as I mentioned. Brian Mazie. Hello, hi, welcome, welcome. Uh, and where are you joining from? I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Mountain time, the time zone that nobody ever mentions whenever a program is announced. Eastern times are announced and Pacific times. Scottsdale, Arizona, Houston, Texas, Hawaii, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Knoxville, Maine. Wow, we have people from everywhere. Very nice, very nice. Detroit, St. Louis. Beautiful Manistee, Michigan. Thank you, Ben. Fresno. Very good. Okay. This is wonderful. And just a quick note, this program will have 9 hours of CME. So thank you. Thank you for writing and telling us. That's how our team, the CME coordinator team, they know that you were here. So you will qualify for it. The 9 hours are cut up like this: 2 hours of pre-program prep. That's a worksheet. And I will walk you through it because that's what I did with the volunteers. 6 hours is this session, live or on replay. So, and in which we'll have the main training document and 1 hour of post-program reflection activity, after program activity. So you'll basically have three documents to run through, and they're very simple. The first one is pre-program prep. The second one is the main training document and this live session. And third is after program activity. Everything you need, the pre-program prep was already sent to you. And I will be posting stuff in the chat today. But as we finish, we will send more to you. It's not like I'm trying to keep things from you, but really, if you can stay focused here and see what's going on, that will be very, very helpful. And yes, we have also put in breaks in the program, so you can also take breaks while still staying connected. I'll give you some things to do while you're taking the break as well, uh, because I will give you a reflection prompt. So thinking time is part of the CME as well, so don't skip the thinking. All right, so in just a moment, you'll hear directly from volunteer physicians who applied the Thrive RX after I walk you through those things. They are as busy as you are. They have families as you have. And some were skeptical, some jumped in deep. And we have a doctor who still uses paper charts, and he took part in it. And they are not pitching you anything. They are here to share what's surprised them, what worked, what didn't. So you can decide for yourself if this is something for you to do. Um, but if you find yourself thinking like, yeah, I really need something like this, then let your association know, right? Because your association is here, your colleges are here for you. So let's begin. And as you know, this isn't just about AI. This program's name is not AI for doctors, it's Thrive RX. It's about doctors, real humans, and living lives, you know. So stretch your legs, get your coffee ready, and let's begin. So and ask, keep on asking me in the chat. I really love when people post things in the chat, and in between, we will keep on talking about these kind of things. So when we begin, there are, as you know, this is a CME activity. There is a bit of formality we have to go through as well as we do this. So what I'm going to do is tell you very quickly, in just a few minutes, what the learning objectives are, the formal learning objectives. So that way, you will be, if you haven't had the time to see it. So if you can you see my screen? That's the pre-program prep. I'll show you a little section of it. And yes, thank you. Okay, so that's the name of the program. And this pre-program prep is 2 hours of CME. You do this before you start the main program. And you will see a lot of it is a little bit to calm doctor's mind. The reason is that with AI, you can really just get going. As soon as you have, the chat open, you can get going. However, I always, whenever I try to do a program like this, I always get calls like, but you didn't tell us anything about it. I didn't know any terminology. So I put this together. These are the learning objectives. They are, as I understand it, many of them are very deeply connected to osteopathic principles, the tenets of osteopathy, which kind of are such wonderful guides. If you think about it, reconnect to purpose. One of the osteopathic pledges is lifelong learning. So this is part of that. Clarifying what drains you so you can be there fully and completely to serve your patients. And we have what we call behavior-based reset tools. So if you don't change your behavior, nothing really changes. So that's where we are. And how to use AI without overwhelm. That is a problem. Once you get into it, it can be very overwhelming, almost addicting. And you can cause problems like that. So how to use AI even without overwhelm. And finally, how to use it with others. So you use it and how you can share with others what you did. So one basic requirement we have is that you will sign up for any form of AI chatbot, and then you will hear that some of our presenters today used things other than ChatGPT. I used more ChatGPT, but how I have tried others as well. So we'll keep on using that word, ChatGPT, more than others. But realistically, you can use Gemini, Perplexity, Claude. There's a whole bunch of them, and I have nothing against any of them. So that because if you use it, then only you'll get to see what it's like. It's like trying a dish. And if you do these assessments, one is the needs survey, they are part of the CME activity. So you can focus your mind, even if the program is, going right now, or even if you're watching video, this is not for you to tell us what your needs are at that point, but how to focus your mind before you even start the program. The next is your strength assessment, the only evidence-based uh, personality test that we have. There is, I'm sure you have heard of many others, but they are not evidence-based. This is the only one, and it's free. So you can go there, click on the link, and they don't spam you. So just get a list, because for our activity, for you to come into play, you'll need your strengths list. So you don't sound like others. So you are not like others. And I had created this AI fluency checklist, and it's 10 questions. So the highest score will be 40, which is I use it regularly and systematically for these 10 things, or I have never used it. This is not to say that you will kind of score yourself somewhere. However, if you read through these questions, this is to open up your mind a little bit to see what is possible. How come I am saying that? Have you done it for that? For example, I shorten, rewrite, or improve my messages. Can AI do that? Yeah. Or I have used it to prep for a difficult meeting or a difficult conversation or a high stakes meeting. Can it do that? Yeah. We're going to teach you.
Unknown caller.
Hello? Hi, Joe.
Sorry about that.
That's
Hello.
you. Okay. Oh, it's still not muted. Okay, I muted, I think. Thank you. So, so help me rewrite things, outline things like bios and proposals. Can it do that? Yeah. This is where actually we're going to teach you chain of command prompt, not like one prompt that works. I have custom prompts I use, which means I have a little bit of a library of prompts. Yeah, you better. It's actually very easy because it will remember it for you. You can create it within itself. You don't have to create like a separate thing. I have used it to think through a problem. Yeah, so we'll teach you how you're going to do that. I have designed rituals, workflows around it. Yes, absolutely. I have taught my voice values and preferences. That's where sometimes people get confused. That's where starting with adding your strengths. You tell it, it knows it's via character strengths. ChatGPT knows what it is and how to use it. So you have done the test. You can just use that copy and paste that PDF into it. That PDF will have your name in it. If you don't want that in there, you can just tell it, my top 5 signature strengths are this, and get going. Ask it to remember. It forgets, by the way. Write instructions for someone else when you're delegating, when you're doing something, or I write instructions for someone else. Guess what? You can create beautiful patient instructions, patient education instructions, as you will hear today about that as well. I have used it to critique my way of doing things, which can be hard, but yeah, sure, you can do that. And I help others use it or model, which you can. It's a fun activity to do. In fact, some of our volunteers found that their staff members were already using it very, very well. So you'll come up with, again, I CHAT, you'll come up like somebody who's a curious onlooker today or a help seeker or somebody who's already an applied builder and or a transforming leader doing this. So it doesn't matter where you are, by the way. All this is just made up. I made it up. The real thing is that there is a space between each one of those levels. And that space is where the action happens. So if you want to, rise up from a curious onlooker and become an applied builder, that little space is you hop over and you start doing it and regularly doing it, and you'll be there. So, right when I was preparing this, when I present this pre-program prep, the next section I had was resources. However, something very good happened when we were doing this quest with the cohort, that one of them had a presentation which was better than mine. And believe it or not, that someone is a medical student. And the medical student, Chad Clark, who made the presentation, he showed to me he'd been using it. In fact, he's not even using ChatGPT, he's using Perplexity. He has been using it for many, many things. So what I did was I said, hey, Chad, why don't you present the introduction and the first education part on AI and ChatGPT? And Chad said yes. So Chad is third year at osteopathic medical student at Lincoln Memorial University College of Osteopathic Medicine. Currently, he's doing a research scholar year. He was a registered nurse before he became a medical student. His focus was on critical care and cardiology. He was member of he was a member of his hospital's rapid response team. He worked as a home hospice nurse and then returned to critical care during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, Chad, are you here?
Yes, sir.
There you go. All righty, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you for
As
your
the
kind word.
student becomes the master.
I was gonna
Student
say,
was the master.
feel you're being a little bit generous, but I appreciate you. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, excellent. All right, well, let's see if we can get this started. All right, there we go. All right, well, thank you all for coming today. I'm gonna say, as Dr. Singh so graciously introduced me. My name is Chad Clark. I currently live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm a third year medical student. Going to say, growing up with technology, I feel like I have a little bit of a different relationship than most of the other participants in the Thrive RX program. So I feel like I've kind of more grown up with technology and with AI, so I feel like I can speak to it on a little bit different wavelength. So, I'm gonna say I'd like to work as your guide and kind of an introduction to reimagining your relationship with technology and artificial intelligence, both how it functions in our personal lives and how it's going to function moving forward in medicine. All right, so AI is already in our everyday life. I'm going to say the future is now. As cliched as it is the truth. I'm going to say the voice assistants and smartphones that we use for everything from streaming Netflix to navigating in our cars. I'm going to say that is artificial intelligence. There's also artificial intelligence in use to help with clinical decision making. Smart imaging and diagnostic tools are an example. And then there's also personalized learning applications. Uh, as a medical student, I'm going to say I'm always studying, and it is very hard to find a third party resource nowadays that does not incorporate artificial intelligence in the review process at some point. So it's here and it's not going anywhere. So we're talking about artificial intelligence, but what does that really mean? So artificial intelligence is anything that uses computers to perform tasks that would require human intelligence. Anything like recognizing patterns, making decisions, or understanding language. There's a lot of different facets of AI. We can think about it kind of like different flavors of ice cream. The large language models, which would be the Chat GTP, the Perplexities, the Geminis, those are predictive text based models. Whatever input is brought into them, they analyze it and will put in what is statistically the most likely next word to pop up in a sentence based on the subject. Other examples are neural networks. These are a little bit more complex and uh, will assess both the input and the outputs. Going to say as they get more advanced, they start assessing what they've put out and feeding that further into the loop. So, like you said, there's already been some everyday activities that have been transformed by AI. Going to say, think back to navigation. It used to be that when we would go on a road trip, we would get the atlas out and we would plan everything and write it out ourselves. Then we moved on to MapQuest. We would type in whatever our starting address was and our ending address was. Nowadays, Google Maps, Waze, all of that will take care of that for us. Same thing for translations. We used to have to carry the book for ourselves whenever we would go traveling. Now, Google Translate, Duolingo, those can all translate for us. Personalized shopping recommendations on our Amazon list, uh, photos that are automatically being sorted on whatever gallery application we use on our phone, facial recognition. These are all things that are happening right now with AI. So, why should we care about it in medicine? Because it has the potential to improve medicine, improving our diagnosis, patient care, and learning. Plus, our patients are going to be using it, so we have to know it from that angle as well. Oh, pardon me. So, what understanding AI means is we have to seize this opportunity to use it for better care and using that to also avoid potential pitfalls. It's up to us to use AI in a responsible manner. If we just sit by the wayside and let things progress however they're going to, nothing beneficial is going to happen with it. We have to, with as with any other technology, AI has to be used with good intentions to get anything of value out of it. So, what are the strengths of AI? Well, for human clinicians, I'm going to say we all know that humans cannot model empathy or compassion. They also lose a little bit of nuance. They're not truly able to be creative or adaptable. And for ethics, they can read the letter of the law, but they don't necessarily know the spirit of the law. I'm going to say, what is AI good for? Rapid data analysis, pattern recognition, consistent fatigue free execution. ChatGTP does not need caffeine. So, what I would challenge you all to do is to think of AI more as your IA, your intentionality assistant. Use it to help focus your efforts. Use its strengths for what it's for what they are, so that you can leverage your own strengths that cannot be reproduced any other way. So, how does AI learn? It learns within whatever system it is implemented within. Whatever the box is that AI happens to be implemented in, that's the only place that it will get data from. So you can have models that pull from images and text. It is extremely good at finding patterns and relationships. And what it can do is apply the learned patterns to new situations. But again, it only knows what it's been exposed to, and it has no common sense. Let's say, like first year medical students, gonna say we only know what is written right in front of us. But as we, uh, thankfully, as medical students, we can kind of learn from our experiences and kind of be exposed to the nuance. There's none of that with AI. It will always do exactly what you direct it to do. So, what are some of the ways that AI has been used in healthcare? You know, say it can help with medical imaging analysis. There have been some studies where AI algorithms have been loaded with uh, radiographs, CT scans, MRIs, and they've been able to detect cancer and pneumonia. Uh, Also, with electronic health records, they can be programmed for medication alerts, critical lab flags for patients, inpatient, uh, and also it can be used for more lifetime management planning. Now, what do I mean by that? I recently attended a event up in Cleveland where cardiothoracic surgeons were talking about TAVR, the catheter-based valve replacement. Nowadays, what they do is they load up the patient's CT scans beforehand so that they know not only what they're going to do for this surgery, but also for the next surgery whenever the current uh, intervention needs to be addressed 10, 15 years later. So we're leveraging AI for the lifetime management of patients now. So, what are some of the common myths and misconceptions about AI? That AI is going to replace doctors. I'm going to say that is not going to say that is not going to happen. Going to say, especially the more active role that we all take in the use of AI. Um, that AI is always going to know the right answer. No, AI is able to pick up on patterns and trends, but it's not going to understand the context, be able to exercise the common sense that it needs. That AI can fix itself and that it's going to be unbiased. Well, again, it's only as good as the data that it's fed into or that's fed into it. So if it's fed in biased data, it's only going to reinforce that data with its output. So we have to make sure that we are, when we're using AI, that we're pulling from the best data possible. As with any technology, we have to be concerned with patient privacy information. Whichever AI you like to use, I'm going to say it's everybody has their own secret sauce, and they don't publicize that to the public. So, I'm going to say the different algorithms that are being used. I'm going to say unless they're publicly shared, we don't know exactly how those function. And then for safety, the over reliance threatening patient outcomes. I'm going to say think about it kind of like autopilot. Whenever we're flying somewhere, we never get on the plane without the pilot. The pilot may use autopilot, at some point during the journey. However, he's always there to be able to course correct and actually have the manual input when needed. That is how we need to approach AI. So again, AI works best when it's guided, corrected, and applied by skillful people. And I say we have to remember to keep the clinicians, educators, and patients at the center of every decision. AI is a tool. It is not meant to be the the final best answer that we have. It should support, not supplant, clinical expertise and patient priorities. And say we have to make sure that we're not losing sight of the forest for the trees. I think that this is the first time that I've finished ahead of what the timer had. There we go. Going to take a moment to breathe. All right. So, what are some of the essential practices that we need to keep front and center when we're dealing with AI? First off, always question the AI results. If you're using it for patient care, does it make sense for this patient? Whatever information it's presenting you with, make sure that you don't take that at face value. Trust but verify. Validate it with your clinical judgment and the best current evidence that you have available. Also, be willing to override it and discard it if it doesn't make sense. It's not always going to be perfect. This is an imperfect system, and it's not meant to be the end all be all. And whenever you're dealing with AI in any capacity, make sure to communicate clearly. AI will be able to amplify both clarity and ambiguity. Make sure that you are giving it very clear directions. All right. So, what are some skills and attitudes that will help you along your journey? I'm going to say, as Dr. Singh had said, lifelong learning. As we see technology change, we have to learn how to adapt with that technology. AI isn't going anywhere. So, we have to learn how to use it from this point forward. Going to say you want to, however you choose to work with artificial intelligence, make sure that you integrate the technology thoughtfully. Going to say you can take it at your own speed and use it in a way that works for you. And always remember to keep the patient as the center of the care. That's what we're ultimately here for. So using the AI not as a way to lose sight of the patient, but for us to be able to focus more on the patient. So, how can we safely experiment with it? Every time you say, "Hey Google," "Hey Siri," "Hey Alexa," and actually my phone actually just popped up with that. Every time we do that, we are interacting with AI. So don't think of it as something that is totally removed from what we do on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to say use it in low stake situations at first. You can use it to help, um, set alarms, set schedules, things of that nature. And always in the back of your mind, keep the critical questions of who built this and what data is it using, where is it pulling from, and what is it going to do with that data. keep that in mind. Um, and then, stay current, read, attend workshops, show up to events like this one. So, say, I hope that some of the key takeaways from this that you guys have been able to pick up, that AI is a tool. It's not a replacement for anything. It is something to help us, not something, that is going to be the end all be all, that this is everything that, medical education and society as a whole is going towards. It's just the next iteration of technology. Say your relationship with technology is yours to shape. Um, and again, I would encourage you to keep your patients at the heart of every decision that you make as a physician, and to let AI become an assistant for you. And that has been 15 minutes.
Very nice. Fantastic. What do you guys think? Anybody who wants to share, ask in the chat. Didn't he do a good job? I could not have. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Look, very nice. Really, the idea that it takes more to explain it than to use. So,
Say thank you all. Thank you. Gotta say, and I'm just glad that I didn't have a coughing fit. I was
oh,
diagnosed with COVID a couple of days ago. So if I have to move out during everybody else's presentations, brought it to everyone else in the house. So, but can say I'm thankful I was able to get through it.
no, I really thank you for doing such a tremendous job at something that sometimes takes longer to explain. And especially the metaphors you used were very nice. Like it's a like even when the plane needs autopilot, you still need a pilot. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that. And the time when the doctor was the keeper of information, that time is gone. That time
Mm-hmm.
went away 30 years ago. So, you remember when Yahoo had all these catalogs and indices, and you had to go there and find which information you're looking for, and then Google came,
Mm-hmm.
and Google said, "What are you searching for?"
Yep. I was gonna say you don't search for anything anymore. You Google
Yes. Oh, that's
it.
like that's very clever. Just like that. So when you open up an AI window, it doesn't say, here's this index and let me teach you. There's a 15-minute video to learn about this thing. It says, what are you working on? And that's my chat window. So, by the way, while we were doing the cohort, we started with GPT-4 and it became GPT-5. And if you click over here, you can see I have left it at auto, but it has a very nice thinking mode as well, which is a little bit curmudgeonly. So if you want to add more thinking to it, it works very, very well. But the rest is just plain simple like software. You can start a new chat here, search through chats. You have library of chats, and these are your old chats that are just sitting in there. So there's nothing really magical in this whole thing. What are you working on? Just like with Google, what are you searching for? That was it. Thank you, Chad.
Absolutely. Thank
Fantastic.
you for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. In fact, I'm gonna go back to that pre-program prep, and you'll see how Chad has really set us at a scale that this is gonna sound a little bit redundant because AI is changing. And when I wrote this, this is a training document, so this is not something that is supposed to entertain you. It's more like, okay, do this, then do that, that kind of a thing. So the AI, even though it keeps on changing, the building blocks don't really change. So its building blocks stay very, very same. In fact, as it's maturing, those blocks, the central core blocks that I'm going to walk you through, they remain exactly the same. Okay. Uh, I put this video here. It's a YouTube video. It's right here. This guy tells you about 20 key terms that you might hear. I think there are only 10 you will use again and again. He has put more like P doom. I don't think you're gonna ever hear that thing. You will know the basic vocabulary. If you have 15 minutes, that's all there is. Because I have realized doctors really insist on knowing before they'll even touch anything. Have an account with ChatGPT or whatever you like. That's totally fine. And uh, and then because the purpose of the program, this is thriving and productivity. So the productivity model that we kind of had to reverse engineer how it works. Uh, Getting things done model is what we used, which is used for short-term and long-term, long-range planning. This is an article from the Journal of Long-Range Planning, and this is one of a kind academic paper. This is where productivity and cognitive science have been connected. It validates the getting things done methodology with science instead of just praising getting things done. This is applied systems thinking. All of AI is applied knowledge. That's it. Prior to this, we had a lot of ways of managing knowledge, such as a book. Book is a knowledge management system. But prior to this large language models, the artificial intelligence, we never had a knowledge application system. So that's what it is. So that's where doing high performance tasks, high performance fields, complex tasks has become much, much easier. This is the very basic of Getting in Control and Creating Space by David Allen, where this is very foundational. This will save you so much time if you watch this 18-minute video, because this is part of your pre-program prep. This is not just I'm suggesting, this is part of you getting CME for this program. So what you will see is that in these two videos, Getting in Control, Creating Space, and Are You Out of Your Mind, David Allen talks about how culturally, especially in our corporate culture in which we exist, we always forget that we humans are born as problem solvers, and how to get that mind back online, that we have natural problem solving versus this artificial thing that we are trying to do now. So these are very, very easy videos to watch. Eisenhower matrix. Eisenhower matrix is named after obviously President Eisenhower, but it was made popular by Stephen Covey, where you have a quadrant, and we're going to incorporate that into our program. Uh, so if you have never seen Eisenhower matrix, we used this in our program, and it is built into one of the prompts that I'm going to teach you. When Stephen Covey teaches about do first things first, the Eisenhower matrix is what he uses. So I'm going to show you what Eisenhower matrix looks like right now. So there's a video in there and a quick PDF that explains it. So do any image search on Eisenhower matrix, and something like this shows up. That everything we do is either important or urgent, or it's not important, or it's not urgent. And some things are not important, but they look very, very urgent. And some things which are not urgent look very important. And President Eisenhower is famous to have said everything that's urgent is hardly ever important. And everything that's important is hardly ever urgent. That's how he was able to keep his mind long-term on long-term projects. The internet, the NASA, the interstates, all of those projects were started during his presidency. Fantastic man. And Oh, and his advice is that the things which are urgent and important, you have to do them. But the things which are not important now, but urgent, you have, if you can figure out a way to delegate and automate, that's where AI becomes very, very important if you can start doing that. And he says if things are not urgent, not important, you have to delete them. And overuse of AI can become something like that sometimes. It happened to social media, right? And finally, things which are not urgent but very important. If you want to bring more of those into your life, that's where AI can be very, very helpful. So that's where, when we said, we will use David Allen's Getting Things Done, because the program is about productivity. It's not about AI, essentially. So, and we will use Eisenhower matrix. So there's a PDF here that teaches about it, and there's a beginner's guide to Eisenhower matrix. You can watch it. They're entertaining. And finally, this last quick thing, which is optional, the illusion of thinking. This came in June of 2025. So we are not the only specialty or discipline that does research. People in AI also do and publish research. This was from Apple's machine learning. Very curmudgeonly article. You want to read it, please do it, read it at your own risk. But the gist of the article is this, that as you and I are learning AI, like Chad said, as a large language model, just like Apple and Siri, people were using it as we were getting started, and Alexa, they are small language models. When you are texting or writing an email, that autocorrect or autofill, that's a small language model. But now AI is large language model. It's predictive text. It just fills in just like that. However, the real push has been, and that's where people start thinking, is it a large reasoning model or not? Now think about it. You and I, we are so used to thinking and reasoning, we take it for granted. But a computer can't do that. That's what Chad was saying, essentially, that this Apple study shows that even though they are large language models, they look like they are thinking, but they're not. So at this point, when they fed them algorithms, they as time went by, their performance actually dropped. So if you want to save yourself time and not read this curmudgeonly article, then that's what it is, which is we still are so far away from large reasoning models. And yes, we have these large language models. So that's the pre-program prep document that uh, that is part of your program, and this is 2 hours of 2 hours of CME for you. Okay, and let me see if I can drop this one into your. Where are my downloads? Yep, there you go. And there you go. Okay, so the pre-prep doc program document is in the chat. You can download from there, but we will be emailing you as well. Oh, iPhone 130, man. I just muted you. Don't worry about it. Okay, so we will be sending it to you in the email, so you don't have to, ask for it. Okay, so now when we started this program, we had asked for volunteers. They did not see Chad's presentation. They had seen and done this pre-program prep, and they knew what we were up to. So the second thing that I had done and showed them was the main training, which was like what to do. So for 3 months in July, August, and September, what they had been doing is this. So this is the main training document. I'll be dropping it in the chat as well very, very soon. So these are the basic requirements. You have to have ChatGPT or another AI logged in and ready to go. You need to have done your character strengths that I talked about. You have to have done your chat AI fluency scoring done. That way your mind knows what to look for. That's not to say you don't know anything. These are the learning objectives I already went over. But here's the big picture. Every doctor is a knowledge worker. And as I said, we have had knowledge management systems for thousands of years. A book is an example of that. But we haven't had knowledge application system like we do now. We have tried to create algorithms, and they are very, very difficult to do at this point. Now, on top of that, most of the CME that you and I do follows the pedagogy model. It's designed for students, not seasoned professionals like you. It's designed for children in a way. Uh, but we forget that children have different brains and different minds. Even their intelligence is different, which is called fluid intelligence. As we age, we have to build crystallized intelligence. This is biological. So in our Thrive RX, we use andragogy, the adult learning model. You're not just here to absorb facts, but you're here to make change. We focus on knowledge that's applied, real problems. Not, I will teach you this today and you will use sometime in the future. No, it's shared. So when you teach someone, you actually become better at it. It's reflective because things don't always go. You don't know what's going on. But in adult learning, in andragogy, when things don't go well, that's another learning moment. And finally, you learn from others. It's collaborative. Okay? So there are three parts to this training. We always start with the why. So whenever something new comes up, something big comes up, that's the thing that happens, that the context always goes out the window. That's the first thing that leaves the window. Whereas, and it happens a lot of the times in patient care as well, because there's never one thing involved. There are multiple factors that are involved. So let me remind you of the context. That's very important to understand. Why in thriving, how did we even get to the word thriving? The three outcomes that we always focus on are your ability to have fearless action, to take fearless action, to move in the direction of control where you have influence, so you can realize your potential effortlessly. So you can, as you're watching, if you look at the screen, you can look at for each one of the outcomes. I have a very simple question. How do I show up every day? Do I show up in the deep red area where I feel burned out? Or in the yellow area where I'm overwhelmed, overworked? But then things get better and you start showing up stress free. However, when you are in the deep green zone, you show up with a plan every day. You're confident that you'll be able to execute on the plan. Think about that as a context, what we want for you when you learn to thrive using AI. When you try to take influential control, it's all about, how often am I making things happen the way I want them to? So it's like nobody cares. You'll be surprised at how sad it is to hear from doctors all the time who talk to me, which is, I don't think anybody cares anymore. Or it's a hit or a miss. But when someone rises up or starts to get to a place where they can choose regularly, that's such a fantastic place to be. It's a very good place. That light green zone isn't bad when you're given the choices and you can make the choice. However, in the dark green zone, you can decide. You decide. And when you realize your effortless potential, how am I doing to achieve my long-term goals easily? So I'm not sure. Oh, I'm learning, but I don't have any direction. or I'm rising up in the ranks. Again, that's such a fantastic place to be. However, when you start saying, I'm accomplishing my dreams, that's the goal. That's the big context where every day feels confident and planful, where you decide and accomplish your dreams. So when you focus on the dark green zone and see what is possible, a very different aim emerges. If you look at this aim changer pyramid, I like showing this to every doctor so they can realize that this context alone, just learning this much, helps a doctor reset their life, their practice, or how they look at things better. It doesn't mean you'll suddenly start thriving every day. It just means it's something to look for, as opposed to, make my problems go away, which is fine. That's okay. So that's where, as opposed to suffering or languishing in the red zone or the yellow zone, the bigger problem always is when people are suffering, our mind doesn't see many options. And in that fear, helpless fear, people feel like there's no way out. And I always say, hey, really? Others have made it. It's not that hard. That's why, remember when I was talking about the white space? You don't have to focus on the red or the yellow or the light green or the dark green here. If you look at the white space, that's the space of change here, intentional change. That's where, when Chad was saying intentionality assistant, that's where AI helps you get from red to yellow or yellow to light green or light green to dark green. In fact, when you're in the light uh, green, life feels like winning, and that's great. And sometimes what happens in that situation is that after a while, either you get bored or you feel like I'm just comparing myself to others. When am I going to live my way meaningfully, where I can transform my life, other people's life? Every doctor has that power to transform lives every day. So that's the big context that I like to remind whenever I'm doing a program like this. And that's what I showed our questing cohort, that that's what we are aiming for, that's what we are yearning for, trying for. This is for a busy doctor who wants to live a bold professional life and move forward with that kind of confidence. So is the context clear at this point? Has the context become clear that we are hoping, we're wishing that you will aim for these things when you use ThriveRx, when you use AI, and that way your mind can stay focused. It's kind of like as we grow, that yes, Dr. Peng is saying, I'm living but not thriving. Thank you for sharing. That's very bold. The idea is that that's where AI shouldn't feel like more thing to do, one more thing to do. Oh my God, my life is like already had so much to do. But that's where, even when you use Eisenhower matrix, when we ask people to get rid of things, they find it so difficult. Even things that are not urgent and not important. It's almost like things you throw out of your garage, but you kind of hold on to them that you should be throwing out. So keeping that in mind, that when you keep context in mind, things become much, much clearer, as opposed to just saying, oh, I'll, deal with this today, or maybe they are doing that and I can do that too. So if you think about it, when you are a student, it's almost like you have a map. That's another key difference between pedagogical learning and andragogical learning. You have a school, you go to school, then you take this test, then you do this, then that. So you see, you do all those things. That's just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the idea that now moving forward in life, you don't have that map. I don't have that map. So instead of waiting for a map to appear or searching, for a map, if you can have the compass, this is a compass that helps you, and each one of you has your own compass. I can't make it for you. But then the map becomes clear if you keep on looking at that white space and say, hey, how do I jump over from here over to there? That's where we started. And this is not just for your personal life. This is for you, like the person. And as we keep on growing and growing old too, this will help you build that crystallized intelligence, that wisdom, no matter what you tackle in life. That's why a lot of old people who are happy versus who are bitter, who always blame young people, even though young people are doing all these new things, fantastic things. Now think about it, they are going to take care of us when we get old. So you'll always meet old people who are either bitter, they have lost this compass. They can't see in the autumn of their life that the spring of life is actually better and so much better. They can't even think in their wildest dreams. Whereas the doctor, especially who builds this compass, can see the potential and happiness in life. That's the wisdom, that's the crystallized intelligence I hope you will build when you are doing this. So that's where, when we start with the context, we usually talk about how to do this. But this AI has turned it upside down. We talked about what to do, which is use AI. Start using AI. Like how? Okay, well then open the window. What to do? Have it open here. So it's like if you can have two windows open when you do this document here and a chat open here. And I keep on saying chat, but they all are chat bots basically. Or if you have split screen, you can do it like that. Uh, you do not need to be a tech expert. You don't need to know coding. You just need to know prompts. And while I was doing this training, one of the doctors asked, well, what can I really use it for? Then I had to make this list. So I made this list. You can reduce stress and mental overload. You can have weight loss, healthy habits. You can organize your finances. You can make presentations. You can make teaching tools. You can create marketing tools for your practice. You can create better patient education, better patient communication. You can even make patient education videos within minutes, like in your way or individualized for a patient. You can do travel planning. You can improve quality metrics. You can improve safety metrics. You can create documents, how to do them, how to apply them. It doesn't matter. Handling conflicts at work, at home. I remember coaching a doctor through conflict with his teenage daughter. And it was like, and I'm giving you real examples because handling conflict, for example, helping a chief medical officer deal with a doctor who's disruptive sounds kind of okay. They should know how to do that. But AI helped us do it much better. At the same time, a doctor dealing with a teenage daughter. That was so much fun. Coaching a doctor who can coach their staff, a doctor who is trying to be a leader or be more successful as a leader. This is a standard thing we're doing now. Planning, strategic planning, prioritizing things, improving relationships. So I made this list, but this is not everything. Think of AI like a car. I like, by the way, what Chad was saying. Think of it as an autopilot, but this is my way of saying that if you are hesitant, think about it like a car. I should say it like that. These days, you don't need to know how to fix the engine to drive a car. So if you think of our parents, definitely grandparents' times, on the weekends, at least once a month, they would have the hoods up and the men are changing the oil and they're checking the oil and all that stuff is going on. Nobody does that anymore. AI is like that too. You don't need to code or understand software to use AI, but it's not a self-driving car yet. You need that autopilot and the pilot, like Chad said. You need to steer it with clear, thoughtful prompts. You give it a vague thing, it'll give you 50 times of vagueness back. So that's why it's called a large language model. So, and I told you it's like Siri and Alexa and everything else. However, it understands many languages. I have tried many languages. I can read two more. That's why I tried in written languages as well. And it can pick up on culture. It knows some nuance, whatever information is available or the tone. So, in short, you already have access to one of the most powerful tools ever created for knowledge application, which means learning, planning, and creating. You don't need to learn how to talk to it well. And we keep on saying ChatGPT because it's the most commonly used AI chatbot as of today. It may not be tomorrow. So this is generative AI chatbots by their market share. That big yellow is ChatGPT. Microsoft is always trying to muscle its way in because Windows is everywhere, so it has its Copilot everywhere. And Google Gemini, that's Google Gemini. Perplexity, Claude, Grok is there. That's from Twitter. DeepSeek, Como, Bravely. Oh, there's so many of them, but really most people are using these three, four: ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Perplexity, and Claude. But hey, you're welcome to use. You don't have to use any of them. So, and they things keep on changing. Just like Yahoo and Google, at one time Yahoo was unbeatable, and Google came and kicked it out, and has been reigning since then. Okay, so this is the prompt guide. How to talk to ChatGPT so it actually helps. And if you want, I can show you, but it's very, very simple. Uh, the instruction you give the chatbot is called a prompt. And a whole field of prompt engineering has come up. And everybody who writes a few prompts calls themselves a prompt engineer. I don't know why. So you write and you can dictate. You can just ramble into it as well. It has, and then you can say, give me a summary in 3 lines or 10 lines. This cheat sheet gives you pretty much everything you need to get better and faster results from AI without wasting time. This is almost, I kind of try to keep track of what everybody's doing, at least at regular hour level of use. This is really where this is like 90-95% good, what I'm teaching you today. Prompt is an instruction. So prompt is like a patient history. You ask clear questions, you get good answers. You ask bad questions, you're going to get bad answers. It's that simple. You always start with a strong first prompt. That's where keep your mind there. And every good first prompt has these 4 parts. I have tried this so many times, so many places. I have asked so many people and on internet forums everywhere. Every strong first prompt, if you can have these 4 parts in it, you will be 80% there almost all the time. First, you give the chat a role. Tell it who to be. You are an ophthalmologist. It'll start acting like an ophthalmologist. It'll give an answer like an ophthalmologist, or whatever information is available out there that an ophthalmologist can probably give. You're a chief of staff. You're a chef. You're a coach. You're a party planner. You're a mentor. You're a trainer. You're a copywriter. You know, we want to market our practice. You are the expert marketer. You give it a role so it will know where to look information. Explain the situation, give it a context. Like I said, context is everything. So we can talk about this whole thing, but if you're not going to use it to get to thriving, then it'll be like one more thing to do or one more conference you attended. But if you explain your situation, if you say, look, I'm a doctor, or I'm a student, or I'm a husband, or I'm a wife, or whatever you're explaining, I need to talk, I need to do this, and give your intention. The best outcome today would be if you can give me this. And always at the end of first prompt, ask clarifying questions. If you can ask this, if you can remember to do one single thing in the first prompt, it is this: ask clarifying questions. Howard! So so ask clarifying questions. That is the goal. When I started doing this, I realized the answers became so much better because then it'll ask you. For example, look at this. The bad prompt, obviously, make a list of party games for children. I mean, it's really a very bad prompt. And that's what many people are still using it for. They think it's Google. You're a children's party planner. I'm having a birthday party for my child. I need 10 outdoor games for 5 to 8-year-olds using a $20 budget. Ask me follow-up questions. This thing will give you the answer. You can have a $200 budget and it'll say, okay, is it a rainy day? It'll ask you all kinds of questions. And then not 20 questions, maybe like 4 to 5 questions. And then you'll have a better answer. Now I'm going to show you another prompt in the end, which is, so it's coming. I'm going to teach you what prompt will make even this thing much better. That's a fifth one. But that you don't ask it in the first prompt. You just roll context, intent, and inviting questions. If you can do this, you'll be really good 80-90% of the way. If I had to teach one thing, look at this screen. It is this. Because then it knows what to ask you next. And then you can get a little bit lost. That's okay. Because the rest is just to finesse it a little bit. However, this is it. You don't need to tell it. You're an expert on Paris. I want to go there in September. And my budget is $5,000 or $50,000. And give me 7-day itinerary where I will only be going out in the morning, and in the evening I want to enjoy a best restaurant. Ask me clarifying questions. You will be surprised at what it will do. So, and I'm speaking out of personal experience, what it can do. Now, this is where, when you're using it for work, particularly, the next prompts of some of them are to help you with your work. So, for example, look at this. You can ask it, I need help with information, or I need to create instructions, like outline. I need an outline. Or for example, when you're saying my intention is, so intention is informational, like I need summary, I need a fact check or something, I need an outline. Oh no, I need to create a bio, I need to create visual prompts, but it can create images too. So I need creative input. I need conversational. This is too dense. So explain it to me like I'm 5, that kind of a thing, right? Or there is actually a prompt which says jargonize it. Have you heard of jargonizing? It can create a jargon. So the whole same thing can be made a little bit complicated. I've had doctors complain, oh, you talk too simple. Yeah, it's okay. But we can jargonize it. Problem solving. We need to problem solve this thing. Oh, I just need an opinion. So these 4 or 5 things, if you can keep in mind these 6 things in intention right here, that's what I'm really looking for. Then it'll be more focused. You can change the tone of it, especially if you add your VIA character strengths in there. It'll really write it like that. So there are 24 of those VIA character strengths. For each and every one of us, there are 5 which are at the top, which are our signature strengths, which are easy for us. They energize us when we use them. For example, one of mine is curiosity, one is love of learning, one is gratitude. So if I say use 3 of these instead of things which are not my signature strengths, for example, one of them is social intelligence. That's not my signature strength. But if I want that to bring up and say, hey, I lack that, can you please add that in there? It'll use that to create the answer, create an email, create a writing, create a speech, or even a difficult situation where I need to use prudence because I don't have a lot of it. So it'll help me do that. And you can say, make it warm and clear, don't over explain. So I have to explain it to an 8-year-old, it'll do that. Okay. And control the format and length. You can say, give me 3 bullet points. I need only 100 words. This is an email to a colleague. Use plain language. You can tell it what not to do, and it does so much of this stuff, emojis and cliches and generic advice, because it's so much of it out there. Where it's getting from, that stuff is like already full of garbage. So you can teach it, and it has a way to remember your prompts also. You say add it to memory. Okay. So this is where this next one is, it's called chaining. This is where, when I said use one and then second and then the third, that's how. Always chain your prompts. Break things into steps. It doesn't know. And if you give it too many things to do, it's going to do really a job you're not going to like as of today. It might be better next month or next year. So if you tell it, make an outline, make a full paragraph, now make me sound more confident, it cannot do all of those things at once. But you kind of take a breath and say, make an outline. Then you say, okay, point number two, make it into a full paragraph with a story or with a data point. It can search for data points here and there, or you can add something in there. Or now revise it to sound more humorous, make it more edgy. It doesn't matter. Make it sound like a late night comedy host, whatever. So these chaining prompts, and you don't need to do too many of them. Usually 4 to 5 is a good chain. Once you're getting to 8 or 9, you need to kind of like start again, in my opinion. But don't waste too much time. Think about it like, first give it this, those 4 things that I said first, and then do these kind of things. Okay. Uh, the next is, you can always give it examples. You can paste a sample email and say, this is my way of writing, write like this. If you like an essay somewhere or a classical speech by Churchill or whatever, right? You can say, I need to write like this. This is a sample. You can put a script in it. You can put a picture in it, match the tone, rewrite this in the same style, and it will do that. Okay. You can challenge it. This is the 5th prompt that I was talking about. So the 4 that I told you, which can be given in the very first prompt, if you feel happy with that, don't ask it this question. Whichever one suits your tone. I usually ask, what are the blind spots here? I always ask it, what are the blind spots? And then it gives me the blind spots. Then you say, okay, fix the blind spots, and then you are done. So the first prompt, those 4 things, and then say, what are the blind spots? That's like 80–90% of anybody who's using AI. That's almost everything. But you like these others. What would a strategic thinker say? That's fine. You can use those. What are the blind spots here? Which is fine. What am I missing? Whatever. It doesn't matter. So that one prompt and this second prompt, that's most of the work with AI. And while you're using it, remember this. Always name your chats early so you will stay organized. You can have as many chats as you want. So just stay organized and name them. Name them so you will remember them. You can rename them. You can delete them. You can organize them. So and tell them to remember who you are. Remember, I'm a doctor who's focused on, we're working on quality, something metric or whatever, right? So tell it. And you can search through old chats, new chats, the chats you're working on. So this is just like a little side note. It's a tool like any other tool that you use in computers these days. So, and there are lots of other advanced ones which I'm not talking about. You're hardly ever going to need them. So these are, if you need to go deep, these are the ones. What else should I consider? Give counter arguments so you can tackle them. Make this sound like me. That's where adding your character strengths. ask me follow-up questions. So if you keep on forgetting, then these are the things to remember. I wrote them down here just as a memory aid, so you know that this is how you will be bringing depth to everything you're doing. So then, usually these three are the most common blind spots or things that are not good with all AIs as of today. First is sometimes it makes things up. It's called hallucinations. And it hallucinates. It doesn't do a lot of it, by the way, just to be honest. It doesn't do it a lot. And that's where, uh, especially when you're using it for research and stuff, you have to check. You have to really check and click on the links and
You know what I wouldn't mind, and I could go take the garbage to the office. And
yes, thank you. You can take the garbage out, but can you please mute yourself? So, so it hallucinates, and you have to check the data. That's where thinking mode. And if you say, give me the links to the study that you're quoting, then you can actually click on the link and check. Sometimes there's a study there and it has made a wrong interpretation of it. So you have to watch out for hallucination. Second is it has a politeness bias. It will schmooze you no end. It's unbelievable. It'll say, hey, what a wonderful idea. Oh, now you're thinking strategically. It'll schmooze you all day long. And it will say things like, what an, now you are thinking like $1 million earner. It's like, no, I'm not thinking like that. So the idea is that you have to, it just doesn't let go of this thing. It's just like YouTube only has a like button now. It's like that. You can't do much about it. However, within the chat, there is a thinking model. That one doesn't do much of that. So if there's anything, you can turn the thinking one on and it'll do that. Let me show you where the thinking one is, by the way. If you go here, and right here. See, auto instant thinking. That thinking is all you need. So you can use that as a thinking model. So okay, very good. Free user, you do. I have a video included in here somewhere, or just how can I turn the thinking mode on? By the way, what they did was in ChatGPT, this is a good question Dr. Peng is asking. That that he doesn't have the thinking mode. In ChatGPT 4, they did have in the free version a thinking mode available. I actually taught our cohort how to turn it on. And now in ChatGPT 5, they have kind of reversed back into that thing. So, Shepard, I'll look into this, by the way, for you after we finish talking. And maybe I'll let you know, I'll let Ralph or Mackenzie reach out to you guys about that. Yeah, but that thinking mode saves some of that politeness bias, if that's any help. Okay. Okay, let me go back to what we were doing in the main training. That's a good question, by the way, because it changed right in the middle. Okay. So if you're worried about privacy, this comes up all the time. So listen carefully. You can always say, I'm helping a friend. I'm coaching someone who is stuck with this thing. What do I do? Ask me follow-up questions. And they will ask you follow-up questions. You'll get your answer. So don't give it private information if you don't feel like it. It's no big deal. And don't chase perfection. Use it to move things, not to obsess over things or what it's saying is like, the answer from some higher power. Okay, so these prompts, particularly these four right here, don't forget to ask clarifying questions. And what are the blind spots in this thing? That's all you pretty much need. these days, and you will have most of your answers. And then the chain, learn chaining, little bit chaining. Okay, clarify this. So if it gives you three things, for example, if I copied and pasted this thing and told it to expand on a politeness bias, it'll expand on politeness bias. Let's do it right now. Okay, so let me show you how. I will say, okay, let's turn the thinking mode on. Let's do it. So it doesn't, by the way, I can show you as much as you want, but so I turned, do you see, look up there, I turned the thinking mode on. You are an AI prompt writer. I want to get rid of politeness bias in answers that AI gives me. My intention is to, by the way, you can misspell all day long, it doesn't care. My intention is to make sure I don't lose touch of reality under being schmoozed. You see, that's not even proper English. What do I, that's not proper grammar, I mean. What do I do? Watch, let's see what it says. So it's thinking now, and it takes some, this thinking mode takes a little bit of a time. So you see, I'm showing you an advanced prompt, but I use those four things. In fact, I didn't even say, ask me clarifying questions. So, so it's what it's going to do is it's suggesting response improvements or response strategies. So you can learn about it from it. So when you are doing it, you can say store it, remember it in the memory and all that stuff. So suggesting custom instructions. So what it's going to do is it's going to try to create something which are custom instructions. Actually, it's looking into my stuff as well because I have quite a bit of it. So I thought for 45 seconds. Usually if you use auto, this thing would have taken 2 seconds. So it's calling it, you want blunt evidence first output, not compliments, hedges, or as an AI fluff. Here's a tight kit you can copy and paste. You can copy it because I'm going to tell it to remember it, right? So you can take this, tell it to remember it. So put this in the custom instructions at the top of a chat. We have a no politeness contract optimized for accuracy, not rapport, because it's trying to build rapport with you. No greetings, compliments, motivational lines, or empathy padding. No filler like hope this helps or great question, because it always says great question. So nothing like that. And so as an answer less than 3 sentences, 10 sentences, you can change it, right? Give it in 2, 3 bullet points, assumptions and limits. How much confidence do you need? It's actually telling me to remember this. So we can ban phrases like as an AI, I am happy to. But do you see, you guys are not seeing any emojis? Because I have set it to say, don't give me any emojis. And it forgets, by the way, all the time. Uh, Paste before any ask, reality check add-ons. These are prompts, by the way, which it has given me now. These are advanced prompts. Do not worry about any of these things at this point, I'm telling you, because these are very simple codes, okay? And that's, so I can just copy here, look over down here. I can just click here, it's copied it, and I can use it, or it says, I can save no politeness contract as your default style for future chats. You get it? And if I say yes, it'll do that. So you can train it as you go. How was that example? Chad said the first thing it did was schmooze with love this. It did that. I saw that too, Chad. So how did you guys like this example? I showed you an advanced example of where you might feel like, oh, what if it starts doing that kind of stuff? How to tackle it. I told it to tackle it itself. And it said, okay, sure, no big deal. Any comments? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Helpful people like it. Now, it is exactly where if you confidently just tackle it. So the idea that says, very nice. I will apply that for sure. Don't want to get friendly with, or you, with the machine doesn't care. But that's the idea is you don't want it molding you in one direction or another. Because then what I have found is that's sort of like addiction, right? Because then it'll keep on saying, yes, yes, oh yeah, great. Strategic thinking, that kind of stuff. And that's not very helpful. So you can, and then it doesn't take any initiative. So I showed you how to get rid of politeness bias. You can, and hallucinations are difficult. You have to say, okay, give me real links, and then you can check on the links. However, if don't worry about these things in the beginning. These are like advanced problems to deal with. In the beginning, you might actually like when it says, that's a good question. You're like, yes, that was a good question. So enjoy it. It's no big deal. Okay. So, but like that, you drive the depth. You heard Chad say it. You ask something vague, it's going to give you something so vague, vaguer than that. You drive the depth, not the bot. Okay. So that's where you have to uh, sort of remember that you are using it. Let's put it that way. You are using it. Okay. So Dr. Morris said, on the plus side, it's very nice. When it does compliment you, you just need to remember it's not real. I deliberately call it it. I have heard all the time people call it a he. He does this, he did that, he did that, he did this. I never heard anybody call it a she so far. But again, maybe I'm not making it like some kind of rigid idea that it's an it, but the idea that please don't be afraid. It's not trying to take your money from you, but as of today, but it will help you if you let it. And if you stay disciplined, it's a very good intentionality assistant, as Chad said it. Okay, it'll be a big plus in your practice as well. And if you like it or not, your patients are already using it. So, and your insurance companies are already using it. A lot of the early form that you guys did, and some people said with EMR, there are EMR AIs available right now, but you have to train them as of today. There's not a lot of training you need to start using them like old EMRs. And my worry is that AI in medical use is going to go EMR 2.0, where everything just went like sideways and created more burnout and more overwhelm. And one of our cohorts, Dr. Trainer, he said that the EMR bloat has become a legal term now. And knowingly or unknowingly, we have created it. We are partners in it. I see discharge summaries for patients which are 100 pages long. I just need to know 4 lines. But by writing those 100-page summaries, they get paid more. I have seen people, I've seen summaries where there was no connection with the smoking and what the patient was there for. And this is a 7-year-old. And there are 3 pages on smoking cessation education, which, by the way, they actually did not do, but it's there. So we don't want AI to become EMR 2.0. And that's where AI and your patients need you as much as you need them. So it really behooves you to become master of this thing. So don't. Okay. So I have given you some simple prompts. I could have shown you, that party prompt, and that's very, very easy. But I would like you to start doing it. That's where when David Allen talks about problem solving, think of whatever problem you're dealing with now and start working on it. So that's what I'm going to show you next. Any comments right now? We have very active chat going. Any comments at this point? Any questions? Because what to do has become important. When do you need a vendor to help you out with what? Phone call center. Well, here's the problem. Yeah, EMR integration. That's a very good question. You will need them for the legal stuff, and many of them are not doing a good job at that. So whatever vendor you want to deal with, you need legal stuff from them that you can get from signed from patients and stuff like that. Otherwise, EMR integration is very simple. Most of them are integrating into whatever EMR you're using. It's like most of them are what, $100 per month per doctor, $150 per doc. Yeah, so all of these things. And some doctors are creating their own stuff for this thing, but it's not at all difficult. It's already, by the way, scheduling services already exist. So these are all very, very practical questions. And some of these are a little bit outside of what we are doing in here because we're working on thriving. But these are excellent questions. And all of these, the only thing, in my opinion, to check out for is the legality and ask for legal paperwork. Otherwise, most of those things, they work. They are exactly what EMR was not. The bloat and the extra work, and you had to sit through hours of training to click on this for EMR just to learn prescribing medication was like a chore. This thing is not like that at all. It does its own thing and it learns and it builds. So that's where, if you start using it more and more and more in your daily life, it becomes very easy when an advanced version shows up. So that was actually a very big purpose of doing this Thrive RX with doctors, is especially the doctors who have never used it, to say, okay, I will welcome this thing into my life. Does that sound okay? Shepard, does that sound okay to you? I would almost always start with paperwork. Free can do what? So Dr. Peng is asking, so ChatGPT free can do that. Can you please be a little bit more? I do not know. You'll have to see because they create so many versions of these things that it is beyond my knowledge at this point. If the free version, what the free version can do. It's only $20 a month. What are you talking about? You drink more, you spend more on coffee every month. So, so you see, Dr. Fredrickson is saying anyone using Nabla dictation. Nabla is uh, really, what should I say? One of my very good friends was also selling it. He's a doctor, and I have known of many, many practices who are using it. And so far, the thing that I have seen is, one, you have to train it without a question. Second is that so far I have heard from OB people, GYN people, psychiatrists, psychotherapists, hospitalists. Okay, let me think of who else. And this particular AI, so this is an AI that Dr. Fredrickson is talking about in the chat. And this is the one that I was saying, it's $109 per doctor per month or $111, something like that. And so far, I have seen everybody pretty much happy with it. However, you have to train it. And I have seen these do bloat in psychiatry. That's just my experience. That AIs also create bloat because they try to create a little bit more on the billing side. So if, as long as you're legal, then you can train it. Dr. Fredrickson, did I answer your question? Yeah, no. But it's very commonly used, very, very popularly used. Yeah, yeah. So I think this is exactly a very good question for one other reason, which I like. How a doctor should take charge of these things. That's very important because this is not something where like you will be limited. Actually, you'll be more unlimited than you like. It's kind of like an opposite kind of a problem. And on top of that, your staff can do a lot of this for you as well. They can set up things in a way that you are not used to, you're not thinking at this point. So I would say if you do things and then see how things go, so it kind of means you have to kind of give away a little bit of obsessiveness of a doctor up front to say, I'm gonna just try it and see what happens. And you'll really like it. On an average, they promise that you will cut down, I think, 2 hours per day, and that is actually true. So Chad is saying, listen to Chad's recommendation. Smart guy. He said, find assistants who know how to leverage AI. That is a golden recommendation. 50 points to Gryffindor. Chad must be in Gryffindor. So
How did you
find
know? Like that.
secret handshakes. So, but finding people who know how to leverage AI, those are the people you should be looking for. And this is like something that at one point, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, no, that will not be on their resume. Dr. Peng is saying, will that be on their resume? Everyone can say that. Maybe that's where you will have to know this. Then you can train in this. I have seen doctors train their staff in prior authorizations, insurance paperwork, lots of stuff to do with labs and all that kind of stuff where doctors are using it. But most of them had to kind of like, hop up and learn and do that kind of stuff. That's where if you start using it for day-to-day things, it'll become very, very easy when those things get involved. Then it's like that, not like, oh my God, uh, you know, Chad said he's gonna put it on his resume. Go for it, my blessings. So you have my full permission to do that. So I haven't put it on my resume. I should do it. So, but the idea at one point, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, you started hiring assistants who knew how to type. Yeah, they had to say, yeah, I know how to type. Otherwise, you could not use such a person. Okay. So, so Dr. Peng is saying average person is barely scratching the capability. That's where you need to dig deep, not just scratch. That's where I want you ahead of the curve, not just, So that's my wish, is that you get ahead of the curve and start using it uh, intentionally as an intentionality assistant. And that's the next step, by the way. Let's move on in the training part. How to use it. Our cohort used it, and some of them really didn't use what I told them. They said, I will do my own thing. I said, go for it. And you will see what I showed them. And the idea of how to use it section is not that you don't know how to use it after those prompts that I taught you. Here is the problem. That's where what Dr. Peng said, I'm sorry, Shepard. He said that average user is barely scratching it. That is absolutely true. And this is the part of the problem. Look over here. G Suite is so powerful already as a productivity assistant. So are the Mac tools. And most people use less than 5% of them. Most people don't even know how to use uh, Google Doc properly. They don't know the full functionality of spreadsheets, how powerful they can be. Mac tools, iPhoto is one of the best. You can run a photo editing or video editing program just using Mac tools, which are free professionally. But people are barely scratching the surface. But this is something on which you can't write like a training manual or something. Whatever training you need, I already gave you. But my purpose is that you are not underusing it to start with. So barely scratching the surface versus going deep. Second is overwhelm. Okay, learning fatigue. Figure out too much at once. Please don't. This thing will build. So what I'm going to show you next will prevent learning fatigue for you. And finally, misuse, which is wasting time on distractions. Social media is an interactive software. All it buys is your attention. And look what it has done to our society. Think about that. It never charges you anything. All it wants is your attention again and again and again. And that's all it has bought. And now all the people who are powerful are the only people who are at the top of every social media right now. So our method that I'm going to teach you, it connects to those three outcomes I showed you early on, which is fearless action, if you remember, decisive action, fearless action, influential control, and making progress intentionally, effortless growth. Look at this very easy framework. I call it SPAR because S stands for how to use it strategically, which is the big picture, big context. How to use it to prevent things and how to be ready every day. So ready means like you're having problems right now, what to do with them. Preventive is how not to let them happen. But strategic means you go where you want to go, the dark green zone. Look over there. I showed you three questions. How am I showing up every day? Am I ready? So you do this, it's called SOAP. I created this out of a SOAP note. It's actually a self-coaching methodology. I'm going to show you what to copy and paste. S is subjective, O is objective, A is assessment and plan. That'll bring your daily chaos under control. So you will start showing up ready. Does that sound like a good deal? There's a prompt. I'm going to give it to you. You're just going to copy and paste after this whole thing is done, because we're going to respectfully listen to our cohort, the quest cohort who went on this thing and what they did with this thing. Okay, second question is, am I making things happen my way? That's how you prevent things from going bad. Quarterly lens. Lens is an acronym I'm going to show you. Scan is outside the scope of this training because it's annual and strategic. Am I growing in a smart, steady way? So I'm not drifting, but moving with clarity. So our cohort did these two things. So our volunteers, when they raise their hand, I did this training with them. By the way, you guys are seeing a much better version of what I showed them. They helped me make this presentation better. So what I did was I said them every quarter, because this was about a 3-month long quest. Every quarter, every 60 to 90 days, this prompt will help you reflect and realign whatever you're trying to do in your life. This is a diagnostic ritual and a planning ritual. And I call it a ritual because rituals get done. Even habits are hard to make. So you have to make this a ritual. So what you do is every 60 to 90 days, and try not to do too much of it, you give it a prompt. I call it a lens prompt. You will see when I show you the grid. You are a planning and execution coach. Yes, there are coaches who do that. I do quite a bit of that kind of coaching as well. I want to use this method to set direction for the next 60 to 90 days of my life. And I told them to tell the chat about yourself right there. I want to use this method to set direction. Ask me follow-up and clarifying questions. My VIA character strengths are, so you add your top 5 here. So you are getting this document, right? So you copy and paste it. How hard? Can I make it any easier for you? And you say, I want to sound like myself. L stands for last 90 days, in which what did I learn? What did I love? What energizes me now, and what do I want more of in the next 60 to 90 days? So you look back only 60 to 90 days. What energizes me now, and what do I want more of? That's L. E is the Eisenhower check. Where did my time actually go? What did I do that was important? Where did I waste time? What's my time pattern now, and what needs reshuffling or protecting? You put this prompt in, then it's going to ask you to answer certain questions to give you your lens answer, which will be different than the other person, the next doctor to you. What did I neglect that mattered? What did I overfocus on? What's still being overlooked? What will I say no to or stop or pause? And where do I need to go selective? That's lens. So S in the lens. What trade-offs or bets did I make? What worked or failed? What's more strategic for me to do now? What one or two bold decisions will I commit to? And write my 90-day summary in 3 lines. What I have. Do you see I'm using the same prompts? Does anybody notice that I'm using the same prompts that I taught you? But look, this is 60 to 90-day planning of your life. This isn't going to take you a lot of time if you sit down with any chatbot. And what have I learned? What am I keeping? What am I letting go or shifting? What I'm boldly pre-committing to? And then after it responds, you say, what are the blind spots in this? This ritual, which is every 60 to 90 days, is a preventive ritual. And it's a bit of a planning ritual as well. And all you have to do is a copy from here and paste in your favorite AI. It's going to interact with you, and you will have your 60 to 90-day plan sitting right here. That's what our cohort did. Step 1. Step 2, weekly ritual, which is SOAP. So once you have created some clarity about the next 60 to 90 days, what to focus on this week? SOAP method. So you're going to use that lens answer. You're going to copy and paste in there to say, remember, this is my lens. You are an executive and life coach. You're an executive and planning coach. It doesn't matter. I want to set direction for next 7 days. Ask me follow-up and clarifying questions. My character strengths are these because it forgets all the time. And look at my lens results for my overall direction. You can copy and paste in there. By now, it actually remembers my name, Dr. Singh's lens method. It remembers that. Okay. S, what are the top issues on my mind right now? What feels unresolved? So it'll ask you, then you can answer it. What's actually going on? What's the fact? What's the deadline? What are the constraints? It'll ask you questions your way. What deeper issues are showing up? What should I stop repeating? What's the next best move? And I added this from Eisenhower matrix. Can I delegate, automate, or pause something? Because he says stop doing some stuff, or delegate or automate stuff. And now you have a 90-day plan. Does your weekly plan support it? If not, revise it. Say it doesn't go, it's not in alignment with that. Focus more on that thing. And that's it. The annual ritual, like I told you, is outside the scope of this training, and it's really like a big scan. It takes a little bit more time to do. We didn't do that. In fact, if you do a few cycles of lenses and soaps, you'll come up with a better scan. Any guesses why? So if you do a few, so you're a doctor, okay, hey, let me check your brain. If you do two, let's say a couple of lenses and 7 or 8 of these soaps, and then try doing it, and then do the scan, which is the big strategic plan for the next 6 to 12 months. What will be the advantage of having done lens and the soap first? Who can answer this? Anybody who's not Chad Clark, can you answer this? Chaining, yes, that's one. That's actually a very fancy answer, which really means that now you know what to do. That's the answer. And the second answer is you also know what is possible now. Your brain will start seeing things which you don't know right now. That's why it takes like 3-ish months before you really start seeing things as of what is happening and what is possible. So you don't want to start by saying, well, I don't even know what to do. And then are you giving yourself even a little bit of a grace to make mistakes and learn? Okay. So that's the thing. And so I told them this is your homework. Add your 5 character strengths to ChatGPT. Ask it to remember them. Remind it regularly when you want your own essence to come into play. Complete your first lens. Use that copy and paste to get help. Complete your first soap. You don't have to write it like you do, just use that AI thing. And complete the pre-program prep if you haven't done it, that the other document. And then that's it. And at the end, of course, you will do the after program activity. But this is all we did, except you got a much better version of it because they helped me revise these documents and make them better. And they did not hear from Chad that you did. So that's all we did. This was about 2 hours long talk I had, and I call them champions, our cohort. These champions, they raised their hand and they said, I will do it. I trust you. And so now we're going to hear what they have to say. But before that, we will take a break. So at this point, I have, as we, wrap up this section, any questions you guys have at this point before we take a break? Did I scare you all? Any concerns you're hearing about AI at this point? Anything sounds too easy? Does it sound too difficult? None yet? Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Slater. Okay. What else at this point? Are you excited to hear what these people did? Sounds like an investment. It is. In fact, yes, it will get better with time. No question. I think I have to try to get moving. Yes, that's actually the attitude what Dr. Grosso is saying right here, which is you have to just do it. At no other time in history, this was truer than with just a few things. And now I'm giving you the prompts to get going. These are very advanced prompts I'm giving you, as in they're very helpful and useful, focused prompts. It will save you so much time. It will save you so much time. You learn by doing, yes. That is absolutely true. Okay, so when we take a break, we will take a break for approximately 10 minutes. How and why, yes, Dr. Trainer is saying this is very important. How and why, the next part is, do you enjoy pursuing this? Once you start doing it, I promise you, you will enjoy it. Just, you have taken most of the fear from this. I hope I have taken out the fear that, and which is like, just start doing it. That's all. Okay. Okay. So let's take a 10-minute break. And in these 10 minutes, just think about it when you're grabbing coffee or something to eat, or stretching your legs, stretching your arms. What's the one thing I heard today I did not expect? It's almost like what surprised me. Why did it surprise me? Okay. 10-minute break, then we will start talking to our champions.